Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel, and for today's video, our topic is all about factoring perfect square trinomials. But before anything else, I want to introduce myself. I am Irene Marie G. Pardalas, and together with my partner, Miss Catiriza A. Cabinong. So without further ado, let's begin our discussion. The learning outcomes. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to first is to determine factors of perfect square trinomials. Second, apply factoring techniques to factor perfect square trinomials. And lastly, is to appreciate the importance of simplifying trinomials problem. Okay, so before we proceed, let's have an activity first. Can you spot any perfect squares? So the instruction is identify and shade the perfect squares. So here's a hint. Anytime you square integer, the result is a perfect square. Can you guess? Okay, the answer is 64 since it is a perfect square of 8 and 16 is a perfect square for 4, 49 is for 7, 81 is a perfect square for 9, and 36 is a perfect square for 6, and lastly is 25, a perfect square of 5. How will we know that a given expression is a perfect square trinomial? The definition is that the numbers are perfect squares and can be expressed as a square of another number. It also can express a perfect square monomials as a square of another monomial. Here are some examples. 25 is a perfect square of 5 squared. 144 is a perfect square of 12 squared. 64a squared is a perfect square of 8a raised to 2. X squared times y raised to 4 is equal to the quantity of xy squared raised to 2. To further understand the lesson, here are some patterns or formulas that could help you to understand better our topic. The square of a binomial results in a perfect square trinomial. This is a pattern in squaring a perfect square trinomial. The quantity of a plus b squared. To expand this expression, simply square the first term so it becomes a square and just copy the sign at the middle and multiply 2 into a and b, and that is 2ab, and lastly is squared the last term, that is b squared. Another formula is a minus b raised to the second power. So to get the perfect square trinomial in squaring this expression, just square the first term so it becomes a squared, then copy the sign, then 2 times a and b, and that is negative 2ab, and lastly square the last term, and that is plus b squared.
Okay, thank you so much, Teacher Irene. That was perfect square trinomial. Now, to have a deeper understanding and to fully understand what perfect square trinomial, we have here an activity. It is called Factor Finder. So the instruction is to solve for the products of the given binomials into a perfect square trinomial. We have x minus 5 squared, x plus 9 squared, x minus 4 squared. In the second row, we have 7x minus 4y squared, x minus 6 squared, and lastly, x plus 7 squared. Then, here are the answer keys of that activity. So, in x minus 5 squared, the perfect square trinomial of that polynomial expression is x squared minus 10x plus 25. In x plus 9 squared, we have x squared plus 18x plus 81, and then x minus 4 squared, we have x squared minus 81, 8x rather, plus 16, and so on. So we say that it is a perfect square trinomial if that numbers that are perfect squares is expressed as a square of another number. And we say that it is a trinomial if the expression has three terms. So we have here 4x squared plus 12x plus 9. So the first term should be a perfect square. So we have 2x squared. So 2x squared is our factor in the first term. Since 2x multiplied by itself, the answer is 4x squared. Then, the last term should also be a perfect square, positive. Since the given is plus or sum, we have a factor positive 3 squared. Since the product of 3 by itself is positive 9, and lastly, the middle term, it says that it should be twice the product of first and last term. So, we simply multiply the first term, which is 2x, times the last term, which is 3. So, we have 6x, and add it again by itself, which is 6x, and then the middle term of this expression is positive 12x. Okay, so we have here some examples. So number 2, 9x squared minus 60xy plus 100y squared. So our first term is 9x squared, which it has a factor of 3x squared, and then our third term is positive 100y squared, and the factor of positive 100y squared is positive 10y squared, and then our middle term is negative 60xy, and then the factor of negative 60xy is we simply multiply 3x and then 10y times negative 2, so we have negative 60xy. So the square of binomial of this expression is 3x minus 10y squared. So the trinomial fits the form of a square of a difference, hence the trinomial is a perfect square trinomial. So we also have here number 3, 36x squared minus 12x plus 1. So our first term is 36x squared, which it factors by 3x squared, and then our third term is positive 1, which it factors by 1 squared, and then our middle term is negative 12x. So the factor of negative 12x is we simply multiply 6x and 1 times negative 2, so we have negative 12x. So the square of binomial of this expression is 6x minus 1 squared. So the factor form is a square of a difference because the middle term of the trinomial is negative. So it is a perfect square trinomial.
So thank you for watching our video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment your suggestion for our next video. Thank you.